the whole exposure thing, if you actually care about an artist in any way, shape, or form, pay them, bitch.
Okay. Today we record that commercial. Not sure how I feel about it, but a job is a job. Hello?
Good morning, Zamoody. Thanks for joining the session. How are you feeling today?
Great. Thanks for asking. And you?
Oh, I'm feeling optimal. Now let's get started. You have the script, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. But I have some reservations about this.
Don't worry about it. Let's just read it like it says there.
Tired of dealing with those emotional voice actors that always flake on you or have emotional issues? Sorry, but this seems a little personal.
I'm sorry. Is this hurting your little feelings?
No, well, yes. But doesn't it seem weird to have me making a commercial about AI software?
Did I stutter?
Just read the script, you dumbass. You tell him, Rick.
Okay, fine. I'll pick up where I left off. Now there's a new software out there that's the solution to all your voiceover content. Get Speechify AI 800 for only $499.99 a year. You can generate unlimited voices for any situation. No more whiny voice actors complaining about imposter syndrome. That one hit a little too close to home.
In a world where voice actors start to develop feelings,
He's becoming aware.
Like he's coming out of a dream.
Well, shit, here we go.
The hell was that? Good morning, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are.
Oh, I don't like that. Oh, I didn't like that. That felt weird.
Welcome to ColdReadthePodcast, podcast by voice actors for voice actors. I figured that intro would be ideal for the topic that we have today.
Yeah.
I will say uberduck.ai, thanks for the sound clips.
That was terrifying.
Yeah,
That was horrendous.
well, thanks. I mean,
In the
cheapers.
best way possible, no.
I'm gonna have
It hurts so
nightmares
good.
listening to
Yeah.
discount Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, low budget Morgan Freeman.
If you have any topics you want us to talk about, please feel free to email us, coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com. It's coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com. Or join our Discord. All the description is going... link is in the description. There we go. Just come on in. Either if you're listening to us from YouTube or if you're listening to us in the podcast, link should always be down there. Come on in. We're a very welcoming community. We keep getting new members and we're growing, so come on in and talk to us and enjoy the time. Regarding to audio, if you have any audio you want us to listen to, please feel free to send it to us. We'd love to hear it. You can drop it in the Discord. You can email it to us. Either way, we'd love, and a couple episodes ago we were able to do that. We were super happy about it and welcome the opportunity again. So, wow, without further ado, hey, Josh, welcome. Let me say real quick, Fire and Brimstone, hello. McMex, hello. Magmorta, thank you for modding as always. Fire and Brimstone, hello. Josh Jargon, hello. Okay, let's check in with everybody real quick and see how the week has been. Let's start with the other side of the world. With the awoken, maybe, after watching what you watched?
No, not
Renara?
awoken, emotionally freaking traumatized. No, it's fine. I've just come back literally hours from watching Avatar 2 and like I hurt both inside and outside from that film. I have no idea how much it costs to go see it where you are, but for me it was well worth the money and just I'm not ready. It was a lot. It was a lot to process, but I'm here. Everything's fine. I've actually been on the sort of voice acting side, more networking, if anything else, and I've actually been sort of not trying to, but I've sort of like branched out to a few more sort of like creators on YouTube and been sort of what's the word? Not proactive, but I can't think of the word. What is it? Brave enough, maybe.
Okay.
To just sort of go, hey, I like your stuff, or doing the thing where I've like joined people's discords and just sort of like talk and just getting to know people and talking and just sort of getting more into sort of the community, which is always fun. And today I just realized that an actor from The Walking Dead now follows me on Twitter, and I'm
What?
like, what?
What?
I not anyone like A-list, but whoever plays Lakari follows me on Twitter. So
Ayo.
I'm there going, I'm sorry, who? Like, I'm sorry, who? I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, huh? It sort of like freaked me out a little bit, but like, so I'm just gonna say,
Oh,
hi,
okay.
Christopher, if you're watching, hi. But no, it's been one of those days. It's just been I'm again still reeling from Avatar 2, so my brain is still scrambled, but all is good. We're here.
Nice.
Well, welcome and thanks for being here. Eldurrino, how's your week been?
Busy. As you can see, I'm clearly not even looking at you guys. I'm looking at my other monitor because I'm still working on scheduling everybody for the rest of the year for the
Wow.
podcast,
Nice.
which
I
is
saw that.
yeah.
Awesome.
So in the span of just a few short days, I managed to fill up pretty much all of season 5. I actually just got confirmation from our last guest for this season.
Woo.
So yeah, that's exciting. And then I also have like a list of 11 other people that I have to slot in for season 6. So yeah, I've been very diligently working on the podcast, and I really hope that everyone listening and or watching enjoys it and appreciates it. We have some really awesome guests coming up this season, so I'm very excited for that.
Can we also say thank you to the wonderful community for recommending all of these people?
Yes.
to us?
Yes. Oh,
Absolutely.
You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, and let me just say too, if you're listening or watching, please feel free. Any voice actor you would like to see us talk to, feel free to let us know via Discord, comment,
Yeah.
email us, whatever you got to do. I will do my best to get them on. I know that there's a few people coming up that people have requested, and people that I know other people like. Such as we have a Genshin Impact voice actor coming up here soon. So please, feel free to throw their names my way. I will do whatever we can to get them on the show. Otherwise, I finally stepped back into the booth this week.
Ooh.
Yay!
I got both my commercial reel recorded as well as redoing my character reel, which has been on the docket for quite some time. So very, very excited and very happy to have that done. Just because I've kind of put myself in, like, almost pigeonholed myself into this thing of I need to get these reels done before I start putting myself out there again. I still stick by that just because I'm a stubborn jackass, but like I just really want to get it done and appear professional to the world, as well as work on my reel production, so that when it comes to doing reel for you lovely folks or anybody who may be listening, I can offer my services to you in the future. So please let me know if you need a demo reel produced, and I will see what I can do to help you out.
For a reasonable cost.
Sorry?
For a reasonable cost.
Yes.
Well, yes, yeah, you have to pay me. I'm sorry. This is not a free service.
That was not a free offer. Yeah.
But
Nope.
thank you for, asterisking that.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
I felt I had to.
Yeah, so I mean, really that's about it. I've been very busy just making sure that, podcast is as good as it can possibly be, and working on myself, I suppose.
Cool. Well, welcome, Eldurrino. Thanks for being here.
How has your week been, Zamoody?
Oh, thank you for asking. I appreciate that. So I've been focusing on health a little bit. Ended up having a couple steps back again. What keeps happening? I keep wanting to come back to streaming, and something keeps getting in the way. So hoping to do that here soon. As far as the voice acting stuff, other than doing the intro, that's about as far as I've gotten. That wonderful and horrifying intro that I presented for you guys. I nearly
soiled myself.
I mean, it was very good in the worst ways possible, if that makes any form
It
of
was
sense.
like a really bad acid trip.
Oh,
I will
God's
say
fault.
I did take an opportunity to start playing God of War Ragnarok.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
The voice acting in that game is inspiring and beautiful. The relationship that they've got is crazy, and I look forward. I'm only like 4 hours into it, so I look forward to having more opportunities there, and then getting inspiration and coming down. And so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, all right. So speaking of my intro, let's go ahead and get started with our first topic, AI and voice acting. So.
Yes. The thing we thought wasn't going to be too bad. Now we're coming back around and talking about it again.
So even recently, I know Microsoft has a program out there that crazily, with 3 seconds of a sample, can emulate your voice.
And let me say, before presenting this as a topic of discussion, I did check it out, and dear God, is it terrifying. Like,
Yeah.
it's not, it still falls in line with what we've discussed before, where chances are it's not going to replace actual voice actors, but just the fact that it can get very, very close over or just because of a few second sample, it's a little concerning.
Yeah.
When I look at it, because I went through it and I'm trying to find the link to it now, but I had a look through it and I scrolled down and then they had like several columns of one which was like I think the test audio, and then one of like the base sample for the AI, and then kind of like a redone version or something like that, and the audio sample they gave and then the test thing. The only difference I could hear was just the sort of stop-start nature of text-to-speech. That was the only bit, and the rest of it sounded pretty much like the person. And I'm there going, "I'm sorry, what?
Right.
Are we about to?" No, I don't think we're going to lose our jobs. Yes, but it was a sort of uncanny valley of okay, they are starting to put more effort and time into developing these. And even people on YouTube can't use them because you get copyright flagged. For any channel who uses text-to-speech stuff, it's completely copyrighted, so people can't use it on YouTube. So it's very, very nuanced and niched now, and it's like, I don't know, it scares me on a weird level.
Well, let me tell you, it's weird that you say that because I've been hearing it more and more in YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts are really like. There's some that do like comic book explanations, and you can tell because there's now every now and then you hear a word or a combination of words that are just completely off. So they sound realistic, but to the point where you finally catch those little things here and there that'll make you go, wait a minute, is this actually a real person or not? So even though I have heard that you cannot monetize a video that uses AI, Shorts is right now kind of the Wild West.
That's weird. Because shorts come under the same sort of copyright. I'm confused by that.
Yes, but you're also dealing with a company that has no idea what they're doing.
This is true.
Although if you want to sponsor us,
by all means.
Yes, please sponsor us so that we can abide by the rules that you refuse to explain. It's a little frightening, and I'll get into this later on, as I'm sure we're going to go through the article. But what concerns me about this whole matter is, at the bottom of the page, it talks about the people who develop this software and their own ethics. And basically, within their ethics, they say, we only use this as long as the person who is supplying their sample knows that we're turning this into an AI, essentially. However, that doesn't mean that everybody is going to abide by those same ethics, which means we could end up in the same situation as people who do deep fakes. You know, they are essentially using someone's likeness and getting them to do whatever they see fit. Which means, you know, you could have people who create these fake voices that sound damn near identical to the person's voice. And then that leads to, what if that person gets into legal trouble because of said thing? Then people have to investigate. Was this actually said? Was this edited? Was this an AI? It just opens up a whole can of worms.
And it kind of goes down the route of, because in regards to sort of deepfakes, I did a bit of sort of looking into in regards to, because a lot of images of dead celebrities, the copyright is owned by the person who took that photo, not the actual person within that photo. So, and
Right.
it's
Yes.
so what if this is starting to go down the deepfake route? Who's going to own the copyright over your own voice at that point? Is it the people who make the AI, or is it the person who's supplying it at that point? And we might end up going down that route of people might start to lose autonomy on their own. Like, what's the word? It's not integrity, because like a lot of people, when they go to, well, at least on the VA side of things, we have whenever someone makes a project, they're still able to use that audio within their own demos and have some form of ownership over what they supply. I'm worried that this sort of thing is going to start to remove that for a lot of VAs, and we're going to start to almost lose product, if that makes sense.
I mean, it's all going to come down to what's in your contract.
True.
Yes, and that's the scary part, is so many people, even just like content creators and stuff, are going into these websites and giving them a voice sample and creating this AI based on their voice without reading the fine print. And a lot of that fine print says they can use it. It is their property now. We're allowing you to use it on XYZ, but if they decide to use it commercially or whatever else, that could affect you,
And if people aren't careful, it can be a one-time thing of, we pay you a one-time thing for just the audio you supply, and then no, it's not royalties, but no money comes in from wherever it's being
Residuals,
used. It's just
yeah.
that key, yeah. So it's a read the fine print, people, or avoid text-to-speech entirely.
Fire Brimstone in chat real quick says, I've yet to hear an AI say bow, as in bow of a ship, correctly.
Ooh.
Because I would probably want to go bow instead of bow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah.
I imagine, or rather, I was going to say, yes, please, at any time in which you need to sign on the dotted line for any voice acting job, you better pick that contract apart with a fine-tooth comb, because people, especially in the entertainment industry, people will take advantage of you. It's been seen countless times, So yeah, make sure you know exactly what you're getting into. Don't be afraid to ask certain questions, like, what is this being used for? If it's being used for an AI, do I receive residuals or royalties from it, et cetera, et cetera.
And if there's anything in a contract that you yourself don't seem like you don't understand the wording or something, just ask. Literally, be proactive and ask. As somebody who has signed contracts for VA jobs, I have asked questions on things that I haven't understood, and I got good reasonable responses, and I had Grim check over it as well. Get somebody like a second eye, because you might miss something. It's very important. Something I've learned is read your contracts, fine-tooth comb.
So I went ahead and put a link in the chat for the actual article itself. So this is this is the text-to-speech called VALL-E, VALL-E or VALL-E, or which one is it?
I think it's meant to be VALL-E.
Like uncanny.
Possibly.
I figured it was VALL-E, similar to WALL-E, like the Disney film.
Yeah, I saw it as kind of WALL-E,
Okay.
but it could be.
Wow. I had to try. I'm not a robot, unlike an AI, so I can't do it properly.
I've been called an AI from voice acting, so hey, there you go. No, we talked about that before. Eli says, so don't just sign on the line the moment it shows up. Yeah, we're so used to clicking EULAs for video games and stuff. Who actually goes through that? Don't condition yourself to just accept all and move on just to be able to get your product. So be careful when you do that.
I'm sorry. Every time someone brings that up, I immediately think of South Park, where they talk about reading through the iTunes agreement before updating it, and the agreement just has them doing the most terrible things ever because they gave them permission. Anyways,
I'm gonna
Yeah.
sit here in English and go, I don't watch South
I'll-
Park, so I'm just gonna sit here and be a
I'll
melon.
tell you about it.
We'll send you
after.
the link. I'm sure there's a clip somewhere for us, so we'll get there.
Do I need to be corrupted any further?
It's scarily realistic.
Oh, God.
We'll get into that at some point.
Okay.
I'm sure.
So apparently researchers have trained VALL-E 60,000 hours of English speech from 7,000 plus speakers in Meta Libri Light Audio Library. The results aren't perfect. There's some tinny
I'm
machine-like
sure.
samples, while others are surprisingly realistic.
Yes.
Microsoft isn't
They're
making
not
code
making it
source.
open source, so that's interesting. Because
not currently.
Due to the inherent risks.
Right.
Right. And that goes back to what I was saying is, people essentially abusing it and using it for their own nefarious schemes. However, it's something that Microsoft can make money off of. So I imagine at some point it's going to end up falling into the wrong hands.
Even as I was doing research for how to get the voices for my intro, you would be surprised how many programs already out there. And $499.99 a year was a program I actually found.
Wow.
That gives you that year license for you to use for content creation, which is insane. So it's already being modeled as a replacement for live living people. It's crazy.
That's insane.
I'm trying to read through it. My reading abilities and speed is slow, but I mean it does go into the whole being used for possible being used. I'm wondering if we're gonna if they're gonna start using, or at the very least when famous voice actors sadly pass away, because we all get old. I'm wondering where that's gonna go from there, and whether that's gonna have an impact on people like us who are still trying to work our way up through this, in that they're just going to hold on to these A-listers that we want them for this they would have been great. We can just get a voice packet of them and still use that. And I'm concerned that if they, with more time and research and effort put into this, it's going to start to, one could say it's trying to immortalize and keep some of the greats alive and still with us, but at the same time I feel like we are going to have people who are going to just basically use those over real people if this gets more developed and it gets more funding and more time, and people seem to want to use this more than people at the moment. As it is, you can tell the absolute difference. But if this is what companies are going to want more, and they start to put effort into this, I am concerned about how that's going to affect us in the long term.
Okay.
And by the long term, I mean when I'm maybe 50, 60 or something.
Let me interrupt your train of thought real quick, because you're
please do. Derail this train.
You're talking
like in Avatar 2, sorry.
No, it's okay. Oh my God. Okay, so Fire and Brimstone says the software will fall into the wrong hands. Absolutely. Eventually, yes. But you're talking about something I haven't actually heard, VALL-E, at all. What you've heard is a free piece of software that's old. Morgan Freeman, Bryan Cranston, in case you didn't realize who those voices were, Samuel L. Jackson, Rick and Morty. That was in.
I caught that one.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. But yeah, Samuel L. Jackson is the Did I Stutter? Some of those were really good, and some of those are created by the community based on certain stuff. This is more talking about its own proprietary software, so we have no idea how good most of these are. Which scarily, based on the article, says that it goes from some of it being tinny to hyper realistic.
Right.
So that's and that's just what they're releasing commercially. Who knows what they've got going? Because normally commercial releases are 1 to 2 years behind the times. They're working on something else right now.
Right. I mean, I don't think that a voice actor's job is necessarily in danger.
No.
Because of this, just because especially with the pandemic, voice acting had a huge surge in popularity because people were at home, they wanted to do something or have a job and make money that they could do from home, and therefore everyone got into it. So I mean, there's plenty of jobs out there for voice acting. It's just whether or not you're gonna fit it. Now, when it comes to the, I guess, beginner to intermediate level of voice actors, I don't necessarily feel like we are going to be threatened so much as intermediate to expert,
Okay.
solely because of the price point behind buying the software. Yes, you can buy it for a year for $500, but when you're just starting out, you know, you're making your low budget film or you're making your low budget video game or whatnot, chances are you're not going to have $500 laying around necessarily for one voice actor. You're most likely going to seek out somebody through Casting Call Club, through Backstage or Voices 123, etc., for a much, much lower rate because, you know, people are willing to accept it. So I think we'll be okay. I think it's more, I foresee people using this more as a way of creating advertisements for
that's what I was
their
thinking.
companies, as just like a quick blurb, essentially 15 to 30-second commercials using an AI voice. That's nothing, you know, and you obviously will see the returns based on how much interest it drives for your company.
So is it so I'm gonna be the one with the dunce hat in the background here of
I wear
so
the
when
hat, you're
people
fine.
when people purchase this is me trying to understand it. When I'm gonna say when a company purchases is it an AI pack? If that makes sense, like it's a pack of like vowel sounds that they can tweak and tune and change to create a sentence like Vocaloid, or
Well,
again,
I don't think the actual VAL software is available yet. That's all proprietary Microsoft. They're working on it. There are other softwares out there commercially available that do have one. I think notes 8,000 different voices from celebrities, YouTubers, characters. Right.
Okay.
So it's a lot of things. Let me tell you, the one reason that I have seen it advertised a lot outside of content creation is for work presentations.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So more sort of like in office
Right.
stuff. Okay. I can see big companies and conglomerates doing that, especially for educational videos, actually. So perhaps the main revenue stream it would affect is more the corporate side of things. So,
Which is a lot of jobs.
Which is a lot of jobs. And especially for those who I think who are, as you say, in the sort of intermediate to expert range, who started out making their money within the sort of corporate and advertising and radio and things like that. So I can see that because my brain was sort of going, okay, so character work is probably safe in that regard, in sense of like long form sort of like audio books and characters and sort of almost play type stuff. But
yeah, because you're never going to be able to get an AI to do that. Like even with the most advanced AI, there's certain nuances to character work that just cannot be replicated by a computer.
As of now,
and especially trying to direct as well, in the sense of like there's nuances that just as you say, an AI wouldn't pick up. So this is probably so an AI stuff is probably going to hit the corporate market, then more so the character market. Again, I'm just more worried about just where do these companies' morals lie, and what is what are they going to keep it within that bubble, or are we going to see, again, it's more the tech side of things, and my brain is going along the lines of, where is this tech going to go, and how far is it going to branch out of this section, depending upon how advanced it ends up getting. Again, this is me.
You're following the white rabbit, Renara.
I will. Magmorta in chat says, to partially quote Jurassic Park, they are focused on whether they can do something. They never stop to ask if they should do something. Fire and Brimstone agrees with that 100%. And I mean, thinking about it, it does take jobs away. If you're a small business, I can kind of understand it. But I mean, if all it costs is $500 to do a year's worth of presentations, I can totally see a mid to even larger range company jumping on something like this.
Yeah, that's a fair point too. I guess thinking about what I just said, about lower lower budget companies or lower budget projects not using it. I mean, yeah, I suppose depending on what type of project they're doing, it might be more advantageous to buy an AI that can replicate a celebrity's voice, as realistic as it can possibly sound, and then do it that way. Because obviously, in the world of advertisement, everyone's going to pay attention to something if there's a celebrity backing it. So,
Right.
Yeah. I'm wondering whether, because this one says the only AIs that I've heard speak in English. That's the only form of AI I've ever heard. I'm wondering whether or not this is Microsoft. So are we going to hear perhaps multiple different language AIs at this point? I don't know about you guys. I've never heard. I haven't heard a Spanish one. I haven't heard anything. So perhaps even though this might maybe tap into the English market and affect that, it might. I could possibly see non-English speaking VAs possibly getting a few more jobs in some way or not, because this is only seemingly at this moment tapping into English. I don't know.
well, and I think that's most likely just because, English is kind of the quote unquote world language in a sense, since it's, employed, it's employed in most countries.
I thought
So
Spanish
it's
was,
like
but okay.
it's a similar discussion of, why don't people who create computer viruses go after Apple products? Well, that's because in the PC world or in the computer world, Microsoft still has a hold on that, and Apple is still kind of down here. So
Right.
obviously they're going to go towards the people who, or the majority of the world. So I imagine it's probably in the same lines.
So,
Fair enough.
going back to the article, it says that they're improving the model and they're planning to scale up the training. So they're going to feed it more data and they're going to see where it goes. And scary enough, this thing is going to get better and better. So,
And then it asks, why? Why do you? It starts to speak back to us and we get Skynet. No.
What is my purpose?
no.
You passed the salt.
You passed the butter.
Oh, is it butter? Whoops,
I
sorry.
think so. I don't remember. It doesn't matter because Rick and Morty's going under anyways. That's a topic for another.
Yay! Yeah, no.
Well, that's the creator.
It's all
but-
face palm in the face of it.
Okay. Obviously AI is bad for us. This is the way of progress. Unfortunately, the assembly line took away so
Progress,
many
my
people. Right. What can you do? You can't stop progress. People want to make money. This is all money for them. It's cheaper for one side. It's money for the other. What can you do to stop it? So
Read your contracts.
read your contracts.
Read your contracts.
If you're a voice actor out there is constantly people looking for these programs, this training. So be careful when you're looking at those, and you may be training your replacement.
If you want to, then that's up to you as an individual VA. I mean, some voice actors will want to do these things, and some people won't. It's more the fact of do what you think is right for you, but make sure you read the fine print and don't get yourselves screwed over.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I would say to kind of condense that, just
Please do.
know exactly what you're getting into. Do not
Yeah.
ever be afraid to ask questions. And if it is something that they cannot legally tell you, obviously, because, NDAs have to be
NDAs.
signed and they don't want to risk information leaking out to the general public, they will just say, sorry, I can't answer that for you, or no comment, or what have you. But yeah, as far as you have a right to know what your voice is going to be a part of. So always ask. Always read through any contracts that are presented in front of you, any NDAs that are in front of you. And I mean, if you have the money to spare, and I'm not saying like do this immediately, but if you are trying to look into this as a more of a full-time career and making a business out of yourself, hire a lawyer. People who can just sit there and read through your contracts and make sure that all the terms are good to go and are not going to end up screwing you over. Not only that, but I don't know how this applies outside of the US, because I haven't done my research as far as that goes, but I know that if you if you want to get into, advertising yourself as an entrepreneur, it's never a bad idea to create an LLC, which basically just gives you the protection legally from anything that might happen in the future. For instance, your voice is used in an AI who then replicates Tom Cruise, and then Tom Cruise says a bunch of racist shit. That trail is going to lead back to you, but you're going to have the protection that says, I do this for my business. I wasn't sure, I didn't know what was going to happen to this, or if I did, it has nothing to do with me. So
I think
protect yourself, ask questions.
in the UK, again, this might actually be what you're talking about, but my limited knowledge of business in the UK is that you can register yourself under a business name and have it down legally as you are part of a business. I'm not sure if it means LLC. I'm not sure about that, but having that down you're able to put your content and the stuff you make under that name as part of the business. But then that also, you have to take in then taxes and different things. At the very least in the UK, it's sort of something to do with taxes. I think I need to do my due diligence on that front. But it's when you've got like small little misfiring neurons of, I have tiny bits of information that links to that, so I'm going to spew that out here. So anyone else in the UK, if you know more about business, please tell me. I need to learn.
I mean, LLC stands for limited liability company. So yeah, it's essentially the same thing. It's just you declaring that you are a business and that your liability to your projects is limited. It's just, again, it's a means to protect yourself from whatever happens. And honestly, like I've talked with my my director at my day job about it, because he had his own business for quite some time, and he said, yeah, it's probably the best decision you can make, especially as an entrepreneur, just because you need that protection. You don't want to end up getting 20 years down the road and find out that you're being sued for $1 million because of some project that you naively accepted and did when you were much younger.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the question: have we done that for Cold Read yet?
No comment.
Patent pending.
Patent pending.
That fixes everything.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so I think we've discussed this one at pretty good, and obviously we have a little bit of homework to do on the legalese, but more to come, I'm sure. We've talked about AI somewhat before, and now here we are again. Let's see what the next thing comes.
Where it goes.
Yeah, let's see where this goes. Keep an eye on it, and we'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
Okay, so another thing that happened that I showed you guys was a Reddit post, and which I'm going to put in chat, and I'll link underneath in regards to voice acting. Basically, all it is just a screenshot saying total pay $10 for an estimated 4 days of work, flat rate.
Oh, that's pretty good,
right? So this is coming from apparently Backstage. It was recognized by the award text by another Redditor. I mean, what would you say
I think
about
we all
this
just
one?
died.
Right.
It's just the thing of, go for it, Eld.
I was just going to say, because I currently do have a subscription to Backstage.
Mm-hmm.
I will say Backstage is pretty much like every other pay-to-play site. There is going to be those jobs that are just stupid. They're super low paying. It's a race to the bottom kind of thing. Even while we were discussing this prior to the show, I said, it's pretty rare for these to be seen, I guess. So I just had a quick look through the list. I found one that was like, $40 flat rate for a script of 1,000 to 1,200 words. So obviously overall, that's probably a few hours of work, not only recording, but editing your audio, depending on how quick you edit it together. But no, like these super low paying jobs, from what I've seen personally, don't happen too often.
Okay.
So I really wouldn't worry about that or dissuade you from using something like that. But again, like every pay-to-play site is essentially the same.
To the bottom.
It's all going to be a race to the bottom, and that's why you need to know your worth and
Mhm.
ask questions, you know, even of your peers, you know, like, do you think that my rate is fair? Like, do you think that me
Yeah.
charging $2 per line or 40 cents a word is fair based on my experience? And chances are, like, your peers are going to tell you straight out, like, yeah, yeah, that seems fair. Hell, go for more.
Yeah.
Or
Or charge
I think
more.
I think you need a little more experience under your
Mm.
belt, you know, because you know you had one comic dub, and you're trying to say that you are
Mm.
worthy of, you know, $100 an hour.
Mm.
Chances are you're not going to be quite at that unless you're coming from a background of insane like stage acting or on camera acting, what have you. But I mean, obviously that's probably not as common.
No, don't worry. I'm just having this. I had a not awful memory, but when I was younger and still didn't actually understand the concept of money and how to use it yet,
Yes.
I had a friend who she was an artist in school,
Hmm.
and she offered artwork for about like £10, which I think is probably like $12 per
Hmm.
thing. But in my brain, I went, well, if I pay her more money, I'll get a higher quality thing. And so that, yeah, don't worry, we'll get that. I am a 14-year-old child at school with barely any friends who didn't understand social cues. So that was where my brain went. And I think quite a lot of laymen, or perhaps people coming in purchasing art, have that similar mindset, in that if I just throw more money at it, it will get better. And it's the thing of, I paid her £20, and I was like, I gave her this big, like, massive list of things I wanted, and she gave it to me. And even she told me, like, this is too much. Like, this is too much. But my naive brain went, no, you take it. I'm supporting art and blah, blah, blah. And then I got disappointed when I got back the piece. But it took me that experience to learn that trust people's rates, and don't feel that by pumping more money to somebody, even if it is more, because some people will try and get a cheaper rate, but I have encountered people who might say, if they have the money, go, or if I pay you this much, could you do this, and this?
Mhm.
And it's the thing of, no, respect people's rates and respect people's path on the journey and where they currently are. And if you want someone, if your budget allows you to pay for more, then if you want to, go and like find people who might be paying that much. But it is such a subjective field. I've learned, and it's the as voice actors, trust that you know your own worth, and as consumers, trust the artist and set your expectations from both
Well,
sides.
we're not. This show isn't necessarily for the people that are creating projects out there,
I know.
because they're probably all gonna be in the same mindset. Like, let's get the best possible project for the least amount of money. Because
I'll
that's
go
just
put
business.
myself in the corner, Eldurrino.
No,
Don't
no,
worry.
I'm not
Okay.
saying that. I'm just letting you know. Like, that's we're obviously here to talk to the voice actors out there. So directly to said voice
I'm
actors,
sorry.
know your worth, and if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. And don't do a job for $10 for 4 days of work.
Let me ask you this though.
Okay.
If let's say this project was for a channel that had 1 million viewers or 1 million subscribers, does that change? Does the possible boost in popularity balance out the low amount of money?
That's like getting paid for exposure, though.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
100%. I agree.
Goes,
I
yeah.
agree. But you need stuff on your resume.
Just starting out, perhaps, but this is a surefire way to getting locked into the abusive nature of asking to do more. And I feel like maybe 1 or 2 to start with, but like,
So yes.
that maybe to start with, but that's if, again, it's whether or not somebody wants to take that offer, and
Right.
whether they have the experience and have seen what other stuff is offered and have the sight and the breadth of, as I say, experience to see the scale in that regard. Because somebody who possibly doesn't know any better will look at that and go, yeah, why not? And then give it a try and do it. But then say they start to see more jobs going for like more money and things like that, and they start to get a sort of, I keep wanting to say sight, but it's not that. It's like you're seeing more, and then you have the information to make a better judgment. So it depends on whether or not an individual has that or not. And I'm really bad at ending sentences. Somebody help.
I could push a button, but I'm gonna skip it.
Go on, press
No,
it. You
no,
don't want
you're
to.
fine. Fine.
I would say, in the example that you gave,
Mhm.
it is not worth it.
Mhm.
Reason being is, I feel like if you're going to be in a business where you yourself are the product, you need to know your worth, and you need to know how much people can pay you. Not are willing to pay you, but how much they can pay you. Someone who has 1 million subscribers on YouTube is easily banking
Able to pay.
5, possibly 6 figures, like every month or so, I'd say. So if they're paying you, $10 a month, even
No, we're
in
saying
an
$10 for one job, 4 days worth of work. No, 4 days worth of work.
Correct.
You're locked in for 4 days.
Correct. Even in an instance in which your face was on there, your voice was on there, everything was just directed towards you. I personally don't think it's ever a good idea to be paid an exposure.
Yeah.
Because that's basically, in their mind, it's, I'm getting this guy to do it for free. I don't agree with that mentality. I think if you want to support somebody, like, yes, obviously, following them on social media or subscribing to them on YouTube, whatever the case may be, certainly helps. Well, let me take the subscriber thing out of there, because that actually does turn into money at some point. But the whole exposure thing, if you actually care about an artist in any way, shape, or form, pay them, bitch.
I do have to sort of sit on my obligatory hill of, I started Skywind not expecting to be paid at all. Like that
Okay.
was my
I think
first thing.
all of our first jobs
And-
we weren't expecting
yeah.
to get paid.
But
Yes.
it is after getting more weight under, sort of like expanding my resume and being able to have more experience and stuff under my belt, that I ended up getting to the point where I'm like, right, I'm not going to take any more free work, but Skywind is still my baby. So I will,
Right.
it's the thing of when you have passion projects and it's the thing of, I guess my brain is misfiring in multiple different directions. I've got this, it's the in perpetuity thing of, I'm a massive fan of the Elder Scrolls games, have always been. So to me, this is a passion project, and I want to do this because I love it. And I really enjoy the community, and it's where I started. And if you, as a voice actor, have something like that, and that's how you're starting, I think those sorts of things, especially like character work, I think there's some leeway with that, because it gives you room to maybe grow and learn. But at the same time, if you don't have the space to be able to do work for free, or don't want to do it in general, you have every right to start out straight away and say, no, I'm not going to go that route. But when you've got people who are, it's the power imbalance of, you've got a multi-million, like basically like the company in your scenario definitely has enough money to be able to pay the industry standard rates, and those are there for a reason. When you see things like this, it's barely any money for some days worth of work, and banking on the fact of, this person's not going to know that there are industry standards. There are ways to keep yourself monetarily safe and things in this environment, and I can't explain it. It just feels like a slap in the face. That's all.
I mean, in a sense, it is. And I know this. Okay, let me preface this by saying this is personal opinion. Obviously, take this with a grain of salt. I know, just based on what I've seen, as well as, my fiance's work, she started going for acting as well. Exposure certainly can be important. And when you're just starting out, maybe you're willing to accept those jobs where, $10 for 4 days of work, which I don't ever think you should accept, but sometimes you need to, because you need the experience, and there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. But I don't necessarily think that that is a practice that should be employed anymore. I feel like maybe $10 for a day of work, sure, I could see that, maybe even just like, buying someone lunch, because they were helping you out essentially. I don't have money to necessarily pay you a super exorbitant amount, but I'm going to do what I can to help you out because you're helping me out. That I totally understand. But $10 for 4 days of work clearly is an abuse of the system, essentially. And I really think that as time moves forward, people will recognize when you have the experience, just through your own work. I would also like to say too, like, if you run into these jobs and you are new to the industry and it is something, that you just don't mind doing, try and research the company that is presenting this to you, or even the person, just because, like, again, you need to protect yourself. You need to make sure that you're not being taken advantage of, because who knows, you could lock yourself into, I always like to bring up this, YouTube, when you start off, obviously you're kind of working for peanuts in a sense. And then obviously as you gain more subscribers, you get people watching more ads on your videos, you start to gain an increase in money. Chances are, though, the person that you're working for on YouTube is never going to change your rate. It's always going to stay the flat, whatever the case may be. Make sure you do your research on these people. See how popular they are. Hell, see how much money they make. Like, a lot of public businesses, you can easily check how much money did they make last year, and know, like, oh, this guy's making 7 figures a year, like, and he's paying me $10 for a half a week of work. That's a little fishy. So,
I'm
again,
wondering whether
do your
or not,
research.
in the UK we have that access to that much information, because I know in America I think you have much more access to different bits and pieces of information that companies have. I'm not sure. Fire, you're gonna have to help me with that. He knows.
Oh,
They
there you
know.
go.
They know more. They know more about sort of like that sort of thing, or at the very least, this is where he goes. I don't know anything in chat, but I'll ask him later.
Is that what he sounds like? Is you always use that voice when you're
Oh
talking?
no, that's the entire opposite of how he sounds. No, I'm just giving him an annoying hamster voice because I want to. That's why. No,
I love
fine.
the accent on that thing. I will, before we put this one to bed, I will say, if you want to shout us out, please feel free to do so. But I will note that if you're getting exposure, the one thing that you may have a problem with is their audience that you're getting shouted out to may not be your audience. You may see the increase in numbers, but that may start dwindling away as your content is put out there. It may not, we'll say, veg out or not veg out. Well, it may not be what they're looking for. So be very careful when it comes to that stuff too. And I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I mean, for some people, somebody that's maybe brand new, this experience, this line in their resume may help them. Who knows? But yeah, be careful with exposure stuff. So
Just be yourself and look after yourself.
yes.
Well said.
Okay. We got about 10 minutes left in the show. We got Josh's stuff. Are we good with still listening to that now?
Yeah. How long is the video again?
About 4 minutes and 40 seconds ish.
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'm bringing it up and putting it right in between all of us, and here we go.
Good morning, evening, or afternoon to all of you beautiful people. Josh here, back to bring you some sweet voice-based content. So it's my first video of the new year, and I wanted to cringe. Fuck. Oh damn, was that within the first 15 seconds? Ah shit. Oh well, I don't monetize my stuff anyway. Josh on the topical references. Anyway, sorry, back to the point. As you can probably tell, I'm going unscripted for this video because it occurred to me that it's been about 2 years since I started voice acting. It's been an awesome ride, it's been a lot of fun, and I've definitely changed a lot since I first started voice acting. I originally started it as kind of a side project and a hobby. Now it's become a major passion of mine. We've had some ups, we've had some downs, but in general, I love voice acting and I hope to continue doing it for the foreseeable future. But obviously, as with anything you start doing, you tend to suck at first. And God knows, I'm pretty sure that I fall into that category. So I figured today I'd record a little unscripted video looking at my very, very first audition, comparing it to what I'm doing nowadays, and seeing how far I've come and how much I've improved. Now do bear in mind, I have not listened to this audition pretty much since I submitted it about 2 years ago. So you are going to get my genuine, unfiltered reaction, hence why I haven't done any scripting for this video. It's just going to be, let's have a look. So without any further ado, let's take a little look at my very first voice acting audition. Let's go! Okay, I found my audition. 2020 was when I recorded this, so let's see if I've improved. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the exam! You know what? Honestly, that is not as bad as I remember it being. So there are some obvious problems with it. First of all, the reverb. Oh my fucking god. My old room where I used to record, cripes, the reverb was bad. But in general, my acting's on, the volume's good, and I think it's actually alright. Okay, I don't know if that's like a good representation of how far I've come, so I'm going to listen to a slightly older audition as well.
They say it lies in the middle of the Almouth Forest, deep within the warehouse. What? You afraid the ghosts will come and get you?
Yeah, that's a bit more what I expected of my early auditioning. How did I go from good quality to shit quality? Like, what the fuck happened? So obviously a lot of things wrong with that early audition. The volume is way off. You can hear so much electrical noise in the background. There's a lot going wrong with that. Okay, now let's compare it to one of my newer auditions. To think you'd actually help people, when all you do is let the real corruption run free! See, that immediately you can hear the improvement. The audio is much clearer, there's no major reverb, there's just so many improvements. And all that's really come from is changing my PC to a desktop so it runs quieter, changing my space and incorporating some of the lovely acoustic foam, and generally just taking a bit more time and care with my equipment, trying to get the audio levels just a bit clearer, a bit cleaner. Yeah, I genuinely think that is a major improvement on there. I don't know what happened between like the very first audition I did and that one that I showed you a moment ago, but fuck me. So there we go. So not really too much extra to add on this video. I can hear some clear improvements, and it's almost comforting to know and see, like, be able to like literally hear how far I've come and how different my auditions sound now. I've still got a ways to go. There's still some things within my auditions nowadays that I'm not 100% happy with, and I've got to get myself a new demo reel sorted, but those are things for the future. I've got time. And now I'm going to pass the question off to you wonderful voice actors over in the comments section. How was your first audition compared to what you're producing now? Is it better? Is it worse? What exactly have you improved? What could you improve? Let me know in the comments below. I'm genuinely interested. If you're not a voice actor, tell me about some other things that you do and how you've improved that journey. If you're a YouTuber, how has your content changed from when you started to now? I'm genuinely interested in hearing people's journeys, so if you got anything to say, then pop it in the comments below. If you did enjoy this video, then please do like and subscribe to my channel for more beautiful voice-based content. Keep your eyes out for my next video. I do upload every 2 weeks, but until then, thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope your new year has started as magically as it should for you beautiful souls. And I hope you magical, beautiful people all stay wonderful.
All right, well, that was the beautiful and magical Josh Jargon.
My heart! I'm so proud of him! Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I've played mine, and it was horrendous. It was tinny to, you know, what it is now. Go ahead.
I feel like I'm confused by his second one. Was there meant to be an accent in there? It sounded like there was a twinge of possible American in there, but I wasn't sure. And I heard somebody walking in the background.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh,
that I didn't notice. Yeah, that I mean, I'll say progress.
Yeah.
Fantastic
100%.
as far as
Beautiful.
As the equipment side goes and the room treatment. Like the second clip, I that was and I'm sorry, Zamoody, I love doing this to you, but you're gonna hate me for this. Zamoody's first reel, if you guys don't remember, has a very great line that I've sampled numerous times where it sounds like he's in a bathrobe and he goes, "Ah, I'm hit." And so it honestly, like, just that small little bit reminds me of that. So, but I mean, compared to even the first one you showed, huge difference. I would say, like, Josh, first off, thank you so much for allowing us to talk
Absolutely.
about this video.
100%.
And you can certainly tell in your most recent audition, your room treatment is so much better. I have to wonder, did you, like, if you are still hanging around in chat, let me know. Have you made your own booth or have you just treated your room? Because so for instance, I was doing my reels yesterday and one of the parts has me yelling really loud. It's an attack line. And I still even face a little bit of reverb issues in this room because it is fairly spacious, and there's not a whole lot of like dense material in here that's absorbing it. In yours, I heard almost no reverb. Unless you cut that out yourself, that was fantastic. Like, that's what every audio engineer looks for is when your thing is completely dry and you have no reverb. Like, that's a very good sign.
From what I've seen of his, because we've seen him on video. That's it. The word. I think he has the same sort of panels that I do, but it is a sort of small concrete room. Like, he has plastered all of the walls with the foam blocks, and yeah, I was having a chat with him in regards to sort of some of the sort of fan noises and sort of extra like background hiss when I met up with him in person, and it was the whole thing of, he said that when he listened to his old auditions for the Assassin's Blade, he was like, why why did you pick me?
Right.
But yeah, no, his room is, from what I've seen, pretty good.
So I'm gonna tell a quick story real quick, because one of my first backstage gigs was actually for a pilot for an animated show. I lost that one because of the reverb on my room.
Sure.
Because they, in their words, mine was too different from everybody else's, and they wanted everybody's audio to be exactly the same. And that's pretty much the last time I heard from that job. So it is absolutely, because you have to be careful. If you upgrade your equipment, you have to make sure to upgrade your space, because your equipment will pick up those inconsistencies and that everything. So yeah, so you have to be really careful. Who knows what would have happened. I don't think that show ever actually went live, so it's not a lost opportunity, but still, it could have been a really nice credit in my resume that I can't use now. So
let me just say real quick, as a final thought here, and this is specifically to Josh, your equipment and your room treatment is down solid. So kudos to you for that. I would say if you feel the same way, use this next year, and I don't know how much you do of this already, but use this next year to really practice your acting itself. Like, look into classes, look into getting feedback from your peers, look at getting feedback from complete strangers. I mean, there's plenty of places out there in which you can just say, hey guys, I recorded this. What do you think? I mean, first one that comes to mind, r/voice acting. People on Reddit love to give their opinions. So that's the perfect place, I would say, to put it out there. And, not all of the advice is going to be actual advice. Make sure it's constructive. If it's just insulting or something like that, obviously ignore
stay away from it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you're on the right path, my friend, and I really can't wait to see what you do in the future.
Absolutely. I will note one more thing. If you do have loud equipment, instead of looking to replace the equipment, you can look at getting longer cables. Because you can always start your recording and then run to wherever you're recording to. I mean, obviously, if you're financially secure and you want to do that, then yeah, by all means upgrade. But it's not 100% necessary to improve your audio. You just need to kind of think outside the box and maybe use your space in a different way.
Sure. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry. My actual final thought is, if you need a demo reel done, Josh, please DM me on Twitter or let me know in Discord. And that, my friends, is how you do business.
I've already got him in the DMs asking for help with his demo reel. So beat you to it, Eldurrino.
Are you gonna produce it?
No, I'm gonna help
what
him
I
with
thought.
it though.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's a great place for us to stop our show before we start fighting over customers here. Thank you for everybody who was in chat. Much appreciated. Princess Pashley, it was so nice to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, if you have any topics you want us to talk about, feel free to email us, ColdReadthePodcast@gmail.com, or come into our Discord. The link is in the description. That's the first time I got it right.
Nice.
Star.
Yeah, please. We're always there. We're available. We have a good community working. If you have a question, we will find you an answer or somebody who's qualified to be able to answer your question. Just don't ask us how to get an agent because we're trying to figure that out ourselves.
From what I've seen on Twitter, it seems incredibly easy. It's just like, hey, here's my stuff. What do you guys think?
And then somebody just like comes out and goes, hey.
Or nobody says anything at all.
Right. I think that's mostly the reaction we've all gotten. Yeah. So if you have any audio you want us to listen to, we would love to hear it. Again, thanks, Josh, for giving us the opportunity. Just like that, we'll listen to it, we'll compare it, we'll reflect, we'll give feedback if you would like to get some feedback. So go ahead and submit your audio either to the email that I've given, or if not, drop it in our Discord. And thank you so much for everybody who was here. Next intro is Renara.
No, Renara, yeah.
Yeah. It's Renara.
It is indeed.
All right. We have a guest coming up for next week. Sorry, I couldn't find the spreadsheet that has it, so...
It is Chimichanga.
Oh, okay. There you go. I love the name.
I was going to say, I know how much you love that name.
I do love that name. But yeah, with that, thank you so much, everybody. We will catch you all on the flip side and see you guys next week, same time. If you want to watch this live, we do record it on Twitch at noon, twitch.tv/Zamoody. Catch us on YouTube at ColdReadthePodcast. Renara is doing a great job with the shorts. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it is at ColdReadCouncil. Yes, come on in.
Bottom of the screen.
Bottom of the screen. It's all listed right towards my hand. I'm pointing to it. If you're watching this, come watch it on YouTube. Thank you again, everybody. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Drink water.
There it is.